Hey yo, Toshi here. Kafka will be getting buffed in the near future. With the release of Topaz, Guinaifen will be on the same banner with the character. I will be rolling for Topaz as you all know, and we will be building the best Topaz on this account. In all of North America, hopefully. But anyways, Guinaifen will be running alongside her as the 4-star in the banner. Now Guinaifen as a character is very interesting, because she works like Sampo essentially, but she has something in her kit that is a little different than how Sampo works. We'll explain that, and it will explain exactly why I'm planning to use her alongside Pela with Kafka in a dot team. Let's hop right into it. Now, this is my Kafka build. I have 125 speed, I have 4k attack, which is a massive amount, and I'm using her 5-star Best in Salt Light Cone. Now, this Kafka is very, very strong. One thing you need to take into consideration is that Kafka gets really good at Eidolons. If you have the first Eidolon, you increase the damage they take from dots. That is a huge DPS increase for the team. And then Eidolon 2 enables the team to deal more damage with dots. So if you have her in the team with a character like Guinaifen, your Guinaifen is going to deal a lot more damage with her burn dots. So having Kafka up to Eidolon 2 is very, very, very beneficial for other dot damage carries in the team party. And this is very important for especially a character like Guinaifen, which I'll explain in a second. Now, if you've been using Kafka, you've probably been using Himeko whenever the enemy is weak to fire. And that's because you probably use Asta as well alongside your Kafka, right? Asta provides speed and attack to your Kafka, and that's all you need because you're probably not building Kafka with crit rate and crit damage. So you're not going to take advantage of all the damage boost. Well, you can, a character like Bronya provides, but you're looking to get just the speed and attack that Asta provides because you want your Kafka to take more turns and detonate the dots with her elemental skill and ultimate and generate more energy naturally. This is a very nice team I've been using, and I've been really enjoying it. Now, when we get Guinaifen, Guinaifen will be the replacement for Himeko, because Guinaifen is tailor-made for a team with Kafka, unfortunately. So this will be goodbye to Himeko once and for all in the team with Kafka. You can still use these two characters together, but Guinaifen is going to be best in slot in every single scenario, unfortunately. But I don't mind, because Guinaifen has the... I said Asta has... I'm off topic here, I'm sorry. I said Asta has the best 4-star design, but I'm gonna be honest, Guinaifen was really, really nice. So I think Asta and Guinaifen are tied for me for best 4-star designs. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. I know a lot of you like QQ. To be honest, I don't like how QQ look. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. Guinaifen will be really nice in this team. The reason why is because you can use Sampo, and Sampo works especially well in this team. One thing to take into consideration is that Sampo is a little different with his vulnerability that he puts onto the enemy. So as you all know, Sampo can increase the dot damage taken by the enemies, which is kind of like Kafka's Eidolon 2, essentially, but it's calculated differently because it is a debuff and not necessarily a buff, a permanent buff that Kafka has in her kit, right? For example. So, okay, now a little bit of story time. This is off track here. Kafka's Eidolon 2 actually used to be a part of her actual kit before she was released in the game. So in the previous betas for the game, her Eidolon 2 was a part of her kit. Then they took it from her kit, added it to her Eidolon, which is a little... To me, it made me a little mad, right? We went over this in the Himeko video in the past because this would have been very nice for Kafka for future free-to-play players. But anyways, I'm getting off track here. This increases the damage that is taken by the enemies for dots and dots only. So that means all your personal damage with Kafka, because remember, Kafka is a character that still does damage with her elemental skill and her ultimate. Now, Kafka may not have the best multipliers in the world, right? 76% damage of Kafka's attack is not that much. I mean, considering you will be building her mostly attack, you will be dealing a little bit of damage, but it isn't that much to sneeze at, and she has 130%. Depending on the level, your elemental skill, of course, mine is at level 7, so it's 130, but it goes up to 160, which is a pretty solid amount of damage, but you're looking at getting that dot damage detonated on the enemy, right? So being able to buff all the dots that Kafka puts onto the enemy is going to be very valuable, while also increasing the personal damage of Sampo himself, because he, just like Kafka, only deals damage with his dots. But that's only with dots, not necessarily any other damage source. So whenever you have other characters in a party, like Pela for instance, and you put Pela on a DPS build, you're not taking advantage of the increase in dot damage that Sampo puts in an enemy with a character like Pela, because Pela doesn't provide any dots in the team comps whatsoever. So insert Guinaifen, and that character is going to be really good with Kafka and even Pela. So I'm going to be replacing my Asta in the party with Kafka, because now I'll be using Guinaifen. So my team will be something like this, and I've been really enjoying using Pela a lot more. I've started to see how good this character actually is, and she provides so much value for AoE damage dealing teams. her value is undisputable. And I found out that, just like Silverwolf, she really does fundamentally change the game in a way. So the debuff that Guinaifen puts on enemy is a little different. Pela decreases the enemy's defense, which means they take more damage from all sources. Well, Guinaifen's debuff works the same way. It isn't necessarily a defense shred, but it increases the damage all enemies take. So it's a vulnerability damage increase for the team. So all damage sources are being boosted. So if you have a DPS build in your Pela, you have a crit cup build maybe, your Guinaifen has crit, right, as well. You're going to be doing a lot more damage with the elemental skill and ultimate of these characters. Now, if you just watched our previous video, you understand the value of Gepard and how undisputable he is with teams with Kafka and any other dot damage dealer in the game. So this will be my team going forward. Now, I know what you also might be thinking. Well, Toshi, still wouldn't Asta be a very nice character to have in team comp? The truth is, yes, but Guinaifen provides more damage for the team and more damage for herself. So she's going to be providing more value for Kafka. Now, if you do have some of the things like I have for Kafka, for instance, her 5-star light cone, then you're going to have increased speed. So the speed that Asta gives is still beneficial, don't get me wrong, but you'll still have enough speed to continue taking turns with Kafka. If you have speed boosts on your Kafka, then you're still going to be taking turns more consistently versus not having speed boosts at all in the character. Even though Gepard is a primarily slow character in the game, because he has one of the slowest base speeds out of any character, sitting at 92, just above Clara's base speed. Well, as long as you have speed boost, you get a 25 speed increase on the character. So right now I'd be at about 117, and then all I would need is about 13 more speed, give or take, so that I can make sure that I keep up with Kafka, making sure everyone in the team comp has a shield 100% uptime. So having that speed with Gepard isn't going to be hard to obtain and keep up with a character like Kafka, because he is a character that has pretty close to the base speed of Kafka. Kafka is sitting at 100, which is a huge difference from a character like Seal, who has 115 base speed. So using Seal of Gepard will never really work because it'll be hard to keep up with her, especially when she increases her own base speed. So hence why Gepard with Kafka will be a very nice option going forward. And the ice synergy, right, if the enemy is already weak to the ice element, then you're really going to especially love this team composition. Now, if you are using Pela with the Eagle Twilight line, then you will constantly be pushing up your action forward, taking many turns, and making sure the enemy always has defense down. Even if you don't use a character like Asta in the party, because I've been using Kafka with Pela a lot on the win set, and I've been able to keep up with making sure that the enemy has defense down constantly, because you're going to be taking so many turns, because action forward by 25%, that is 1/4 of the turn cycle. That is a huge amount of free speed. And last but not least, of course, when it comes to 4-star dot damage dealers, you're going to be looking at a character like Hook. And Hook can be very nice with Kafka in single target situations, but being able to provide more damage for Kafka as a support, and you can use that character as a sub DPS and not have to drain as many skill points as a character like Hook would, then you'll find it very beneficial to use Guinaifen with Kafka all the time when the enemy is weak to fire. Because Guinaifen can be played as a skill point positive damage dealer, because you use your elemental skill, and then you would spend 2 turns using your basic attack, because she can put a dot on the enemy with her basic attack, which is crazy, because she's the only damage dealer for dots that can do that herself, unless you have Kafka with her 5-star light cone, of course. And judging by her multipliers, she seems like she's going to be pretty insane, because her multipliers are really high for a 4-star damage dealer. Now, I understand that the fire dot is one of the worst scaling, if not the worst scaling dot in the game. I understand it very much. And a lot of the fire characters don't have high scalings in their kits for fire dots in general, across the board, that is. Well, Guinaifen will be a character that will make the fire dot better because she will have higher multipliers. And even though the fire dot from the weakness break effect is still relatively low, the break damage itself is massive. And if you're using her in AoE situations, because she does have AoE in her kit, you're going to be dealing so much damage on top of the vulnerability debuff you put on the enemy. So she's going to be a great character nonetheless, and I cannot wait for the arrival of her because I will love using her alongside Kafka. Now, there's one thing missing from the puzzle piece. We still don't have a 5-star limited character that pairs well with Kafka. I mean, you can use Himeko, but she's a standard banner character. We're looking for a character that essentially is able to take the place of Pela in a team comp with Kafka, while still being able to provide a damage over time source on the enemy, boosting the damage of Kafka and the damage of that character themselves. Now, let's say that character also was able to put a defense shred on the enemy at the same time. I think that character would be absolutely bonkers. And having that character with Kafka and Guinaifen in the same team comp, well, god dang, that is so many extra sources of increasing your damage over time damage that the enemy won't be able to keep up. It's going to be a very nice team comp nonetheless. And there is still one more character missing in the puzzle piece. A character that takes the slot of Asta, a 5-star version of Asta. Yeah, dot characters and Kafka in general is going to improve a lot more in the near future. So there you have it. Now, whenever it comes to Kafka, I get really excited because Kafka is one of the most interesting characters in the game. She has a very unique niche playstyle. It's very fun, and it brings a refreshing kind of perspective to how Honkai Star Rail is as a turn-based game. I understand that, damage over time isn't something that is new to Honkai Star Rail. Like, Honkai Star Rail did not invent, enemies taking dots whenever they take their turn. But the way they set it up in Honkai Star Rail and the way the weakness break effect system works in this game makes dots all the more interesting. And I cannot wait for us to be able to utilize the weakness break more, because maybe we have a character that increases the weakness break efficiency of the team. That's the video here. Thank you for watching and have a nice rest of your weekend. Peace.